Dana White reveals the real reason the Canelo vs. Crawford fight is happening. It's not just about legacy. Find out what's really driving this massive showdown. White, who's no stranger to big money fights, brings a business-focused angle to the equation, shedding light on the factors that are driving these mega matchups in today's boxing landscape.
It's going to be a fun fight. And the only reason this fight's even happening is because of, you know, the stuff that they're doing in Saudi Arabia and the kind of money that's flying around right now. So anybody who's even remotely a boxing fan should be pumped out of their minds right now that these are the type of fights that are going to happen. I know he's got like 18 months of fights that he's got lined up, he being Sheikh Turkey. So, yeah, it's fun, it's exciting, and I'm looking forward to it.
Dana White reveals the financial engine behind the fight, pointing to Saudi Arabia's investment in boxing as the key factor. The massive sums of money being poured into the sport have allowed matchups like Canelo vs. Crawford to become a reality, making it a win for fans of the sport. While the Canelo vs. Crawford fight has been widely discussed due to the massive money behind it, there's a growing sentiment that things have become far more personal and intense. The heated exchanges between the two fighters during press conferences have shifted the focus from financial backing to the mental and emotional stakes of the fight.
You see what happened when a good fighter jump up and his opponent is great fighter. So you're gonna find out.
That means you're a good fighter and Bivol is a great fighter. Is you a good fighter or a great fighter? Let me know.
I'm a great fiter.
So you got your
you're a good
fighter, right?
You're a good fighter.
I'm saying.
But I'm great.
Okay.
And question.
Well, look,
It's gonna be me.
I don't care about
will,
nobody else.
And you will see that.
You. So when I beat you, is you gonna be a nobody? When I stump a mud hole in your ass, is you gonna be a nobody? You're gonna be just like everybody else. Watch. Same shit that everybody else been saying since I moved to 147. I ain't fought nobody. Every last one of them stump a mud hole in their ass, and he gonna be next. Watch.
This has brought in a new level of tension and anticipation, with both fighters now fully aware that the other is ready to go to war inside the ring.
First of all, I was backing Terence Crawford to win this on points, with his skills to pay the bills, and his speed and his timing and his spitefulness and the fact that he's raising his game. When we see here as well, by the way, the pushing and shoving in New York in the earlier press conference, I think he's poked the bear a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think Canelo's very dangerous. And I think Canelo might win this.
Gareth A. Davies acknowledges Crawford's skill and speed, but he also sees a shift in the dynamics of the fight due to the intense personal exchanges. He highlights how the pushing and shoving at the New York press conference has shown that Crawford has pushed Canelo's buttons, making him even more dangerous. The growing animosity, in Davies' view, makes Canelo a serious threat, and he starts to lean toward Canelo winning, despite his initial belief in Crawford's superior skills. The escalating tension between the two fighters has now become a critical factor in the prediction of this fight. As both men mentally prepare for the showdown, Davies' analysis adds a new layer to the discussion. The psychological game could be just as crucial as the physical battle. Canelo's anger and Crawford's determination may very well play a significant role in shaping the outcome.
My money's on Crawford. My money's clearly on Crawford. I mean, there's so many different ways of looking at this fight. But I really believe.
Do you like it?
It's the best fight in world boxing bar none at any weight division. Yeah, and because we're looking at two of the best undisputed modern day boxers that have ever lived, in my opinion, modern day boxers that have lived. In this current generation that we're in now, you're not going to get two better fighters fighting at this time in their careers.
Duke McKenzie firmly puts his money on Crawford, praising the fight as one of the best in modern boxing history. He sees both fighters as undisputed champions, with Crawford being technically superior in several key areas. McKenzie emphasizes that Crawford's skills and the stakes of the fight make it a can't-miss showdown, regardless of the growing tension. McKenzie's bold confidence in Crawford highlights the fighting styles that make this matchup so intriguing. Crawford's speed, technical prowess, and ring IQ make him a formidable challenge. But the upcoming clash is more than just about skills. It's a test of who can rise above the pressure and prove themselves when it matters most.
Crawford's a two-time undisputed.
He is.
It's the first time Canelo's fought anybody of that caliber.
Yep.
When there's a difference in class, you can give weight away. Okay. But there's not a difference in class, in my opinion, in this fight. Canelo is not head and shoulders above Crawford in terms of class. If there is a class difference, it'll be in Crawford's favour. I think Crawford's much more classier than Canelo.
Technical ability, timing,
because he switches from left to right effortlessly.
Mackenzie breaks down the technical aspects of the fight, emphasizing that Crawford's class in terms of skill and adaptability gives him a slight edge over Canelo. He points out that Crawford's ability to switch stances effortlessly and his timing could be crucial in outsmarting Canelo. In Mackenzie's view, Crawford's technical superiority could be the deciding factor in the fight, even if Canelo has the power advantage. The once polite buildup has now turned into a battle of pride, with Canelo and Crawford both throwing verbal jabs. But Canelo's latest stunt has taken things to a whole new level, further fueling the fire and adding a controversial twist to their rivalry. Canelo Alvarez took things to the next level, showing off his writing skills while mocking Crawford with the phrase "easy money baby" written on his shirt. Psychological warfare, and the fight is no longer just about the physicality, it's about who can handle the heat. As the Canelo versus Crawford fight continues to heat up, both fighters are being analyzed from every angle. In the latest round of expert opinions, Jose Benavidez and Fernando Vargas share their takes, offering some colorful analogies and insightful views on the dynamic between the two fighters. While Benavidez draws a comparison to the classic Tom and Jerry rivalry, Vargas echoes similar thoughts, but with his own spin on the fight's dynamics.
I just think, in my opinion, we're going to see a Tom and Jerry, brother. That's all. Tom and Jerry? Tom and Jerry. We're going to see a Tom and Jerry. What? You know, Crawford's a little guy, man. My respect. Crawford's a hell of a fighter. Hell of a fighter. Amazing. He can fight in any generation in his respective weight class. For a reason. Okay, but you think he's going to stay in bed with Canelo? I don't think so. He's going to try to win the fight, bro.
Benavidez uses a Tom and Jerry analogy to emphasize the size difference between Crawford and Canelo, suggesting that despite Crawford's exceptional skill, Canelo's physicality will play a crucial role in the fight. While Benavidez respects Crawford's talent, he questions whether Crawford can deal with Canelo's overwhelming strength. Benavidez's comments highlight the belief that while Crawford's skills may be impressive, the physical gap between him and Canelo could be a major hurdle. The power dynamic will likely tip the scales, and many are wondering if Crawford can handle Canelo's size and strength in the ring.
Tom and Jerry is going to be running, you know, well, which is you should. It's not running, it's boxing. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you know, I love both of those fighters. I think Canelo's a hell of a fighter, and so is Crawford, and so you know, but you know, of course, you gotta go with us. You gotta have your, you know, your favorite. Canelo's a hell of a fighter.
Vargas agrees with the Tom and Jerry comparison, but adds that Crawford will be moving around the ring, using his speed to pester Canelo, much like the cartoon characters. Vargas appreciates both fighters, but clearly leans towards Canelo, emphasizing his power and experience, which he believes will give him the edge in this highly anticipated battle. While both Benavidez and Vargas acknowledge Crawford's speed and skill, they agree that Canelo's power and physicality might prove to be too much. The fight strategy will likely center around Crawford's movement and intelligence, but will his elusive style be enough to neutralize Canelo's raw strength? The debate continues as fans and experts alike weigh in on who has the edge in this epic showdown. Boxing experts like Kenny Porter, father and trainer of Sean Porter, are offering their insights on why Crawford has the tools to pull off an upset against Canelo Alvarez. Porter, who has closely worked with Crawford over the years, goes deep into his mindset and history, breaking down what makes Crawford so special and why he believes Crawford can win. Here's what Porter had to say.
Well, you know, that's total bullshit. That's total bullshit. See, because here's another thing where that's concerned. So Bud has been tested in national tournaments, Olympic trials, Pan Am Games. We were in Venezuela together in the Pan Am Games. He's been tested so many times along the way that when he got to the higher levels in professional boxing, he made it look easy. And a lot of times, the guys that he made it look easy against, those are probably the guys that Canelo are saying, oh, that's nobody, it's nobody. Nah, dude, that's who they put in front of me. That's who the champion was at the time, and I beat him. And just like Bud said, everybody that they put in front of him, he has beat him. I'll never bet against Bud.
Kenny,
I got Bud.
Kenny, you think?
I never bet against Bud.
Porter makes it evident that Crawford's pedigree and unbeaten record are a direct result of his consistent dominance at every level. His ability to perform in high-pressure environments sets him apart, and Porter's unwavering support highlights just how confident Crawford is in his abilities. Now, Porter turns his attention to the mental fortitude of both fighters, suggesting that neither fighter will feel the weight of pressure in this contest. Kenny Porter also continues to break down the mental toughness of both fighters. He talks about how both Canelo and Crawford are built for pressure, having faced adversity at different stages of their careers. But Porter singles out Crawford's ice-cold demeanor as one of his greatest assets, noting how he handles stress and competition with unparalleled poise. Here's his breakdown.
I don't think either one of these guys feel pressure. These are the guys that are built for pressure. So, Canelo stepped up against Floyd when he was 21, 22 years old. He was a kid. Nah, there's no pressure for Canelo, right? And as far as Bud, he cool as the other side of the pillow, man. He just, I know that personally. I know that personally. This dude is he's ice cold. Ain't nothing but ice cold running through his veins. And so there's no pressure.
Porter's insights highlight the mental edge that both fighters bring to the table, but he strongly believes that Crawford's lack of pressure will allow him to perform at his highest level. This mental resilience will be crucial as the fight progresses, and both fighters need to dig deep to secure victory. Porter is clear. Crawford's calmness under pressure could be the difference maker in this battle. As the Canelo versus Crawford fight approaches, Al Bernstein, a seasoned boxing analyst, shares his take on the psychological warfare between the two fighters and the mental aspects that will play a role in the outcome.
It's obvious, I think, that both men want to make sure they don't cede the high ground in terms of the psychological battle. I mean, even Canelo, Crawford, has kind of gotten under his skin enough so that we see that side of Canelo, which comes out every once in a while, where he's more rambunctious and maybe hostile. But it was, I think the thing about this event is, as the promotional stuff goes on, I think we're going to see more and more of that kind of psychological sparring.
Bernstein highlights how psychological games have become a significant part of this fight's build-up, with both fighters trying to get into each other's heads. As the fight nears, these mental tactics will only intensify, setting the stage for a highly charged battle. Bernstein shares his experience from 45 years in boxing, explaining how rare it is to see a fighter intimidated by the situation before a fight, and why psychological factors will be key in Canelo versus Crawford.
And the other thing is, I swear, I've been doing boxing for 45 years. There are maybe 4 or 5 fights that I could really go back to and say, gosh, I really think that guy was psychologically a little bit intimidated by the situation or whatever. Very seldom do you know in advance, I think.
Bernstein underscores the mental strength of both fighters, noting that intimidation rarely plays a role at this level. However, the psychological sparring between Canelo and Crawford will still be a crucial part of the fight's build-up. As the fight draws near, Bernstein discusses how both fighters have evolved, particularly focusing on Canelo's changes and Crawford's strategy in the ring. He highlights Canelo's durability and the challenge Crawford faces in breaking through that defense.
This is a different Canelo Alvarez. It's not the same one from 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, or even 3. So there's that. And then there's all the different eccentricities of each boxer. For Crawford, he's not going to hurt Canelo. But almost nobody hurts Canelo. He's got a rock chin. But can Crawford, who isn't always a volume puncher, make sure that if he's being the boxer puncher, he throws enough punches to win every round? Right. That's important. Right.
Bernstein points out Canelo's durability and how Crawford will have to adjust his strategy to outpoint Canelo rather than relying on raw power to win. This technical aspect could make or break Crawford's chances. Shifting the focus to Canelo's endurance, Bernstein questions whether Canelo can maintain his power in the later rounds and handle Crawford's stamina.
And for Canelo, if he doesn't hurt Terence Crawford, which he might, can he sustain in those later rounds where we've seen Canelo Alvarez
from time to time just fade a little bit. Crawford's a very good fighter into the later rounds.
Canelo's ability to maintain energy throughout the fight will be a critical factor. If Crawford can weather the early rounds and avoid being overwhelmed by Canelo's power, he could potentially have the edge as the fight progresses. As the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford looms closer, David Morrell, a rising talent in the boxing world, offers his take on the potential winner. Morrell, who understands the magnitude of fighting someone like Canelo, explains why he thinks Crawford faces a tough challenge in this matchup, despite his admiration for the welterweight champion's skills.
I say Crawford, but it's the crazy fight. It's too much. It's too much pound for Crawford. I know he can do it for the money, but it's too much. It's too much pound for Crawford, and Canelo is not easy. Canelo is stronger.
Morrell acknowledges Crawford's talent, but makes it clear that the power difference between the two fighters is a major factor. He believes Canelo's strength will be too much for Crawford to overcome, even though Crawford will take on the fight for financial reasons. Expanding on the difficulties Crawford will face, Morrell further discusses Canelo's experience and why he believes Crawford will struggle to win this fight, especially when it comes to lasting through the rounds.
It's difficult. It's difficult for Crawford to win the fight or to stay there in the third round. So, I say 60-40 for Canelo.
Morrell believes Crawford's chances are slim, pointing out that Canelo's strength and experience will dominate the fight. He predicts Canelo will have the upper hand, giving him a 60-40 edge over Crawford, highlighting how difficult it will be for Crawford to even stay competitive in the early rounds. As the Canelo vs. Crawford fight approaches, Bomac, Terence Crawford's trainer, offers a brutally honest prediction about the fight. While many analysts and fans have debated the matchup, Bomac's confidence in Crawford's abilities shines through as he discusses what the Mexican champion is in for once the fight begins.
I think that fans are going to be surprised when he dismantled Canelo. The more time goes on, the more time Terence can settle into that weight, the worse is off for the opponent.
Bomac confidently predicts that Crawford will dismantle Canelo, pointing out that as Crawford settles into the higher weight class, he'll become an even more dangerous opponent for Canelo. He believes that Crawford's ability to adjust to the weight will give him a distinct advantage, making the fight more difficult for Canelo as it progresses. As the Canelo vs. Crawford showdown approaches, the analysis and predictions keep pouring in from boxing's top experts. From Dana White's insights on the financial backing driving this fight to Bomac's bold prediction of Crawford dismantling Canelo, it's clear this is more than just a battle of champions. It's a psychological and tactical war. With both fighters brimming with confidence, the outcome of this fight is more unpredictable than ever. So who do you think has the edge? Will Crawford's skill and mental toughness overcome Canelo's power, or will Canelo prove to be too much for the welterweight champion? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.